very open-ended question is that this is Peter and the Wolf has been popular ever since its first performance. And it doesn't show, I mean, if you look and see how many recordings of it there are, dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
What do you think makes it appealing? What do you like about it? Assuming you do like it.
I like the cat.
The cat is a very cool thing.
Yes.
The cat is,
it sounds a lot like a cat. It's very lazy and it's very relaxed. I really like it.
Fly, almost. A little slick. I just like all the characterizations because, you know, you hear certain instruments, you can kind of associate it with a sound. Like the common thing is oboe, sounds like a duck, which kind of gave me that they use the oboe as a duck. But like, you know, the flute is light and flighty, like a little bird, or, you know, the deep horns were giving that darkness of a wolf, or, you know, using the percussion for, you know, hunters for like gunshots or other such things it was brilliant. It was kind of using it was more like the sound effects rather than like instrumentation almost.
I think you've kind of hit on it. It's that, you know, Prokofiev uses the orchestra to create characters the same way an author uses words or a painter uses paint. Is that by, you know, you can hear the music for each of the animals and people in Peter and the Wolf, and you know, you hear the story. In fact, that was another question I was going to ask. Do you think if you heard this without the narration, you could at least to some extent figure out the story?
Yes.
Yeah, because if you knew sort of the basics, that there's Peter and so on and so forth, and there's a wolf in it, and yeah, because even I think one of the brilliant moments for me in it is when Peter is up in the tree, and he slowly lowers the rope down, and then there's those violin scales, right? As you know, just what a wonderful bit of characterization about an event that's, you know, in a play you wouldn't really think much about it. So I think the way he underlines the story with the music and enhances the story with the music is just an astonishing thing. I have to admit, my favorite is the grandfather with the bassoon.
Yeah,
I love that.
I always see this guy in a flannel shirt, and he's got this big like Leo Tolstoy beard, you know, and just the voice of the bassoon seems so appropriate. You can just hear like Russian grandfather. You know, what if Peter had not caught the wolf? What then? You know, that sort of thing. That it's an absolutely brilliant essay in how you can create so many emotions, so many characters, just by the way you write for a particular instrument.
Yeah, I had a comment on that.
Sure.
So, so Prokofiev characterizes all these instruments to be like animals or people, and I can kind of relate it to Vivaldi's Spring, where there's a section where there's birds fluttering, there's the water fountain, then there's thunder, the big, I'm not going to sing it, but there's the thunder, you know what I'm talking about, the violin part where it goes,
sure,
so that part, and it kind of characterizes it also characterizes it. So it's some composers like are always doing this, and you can like kind of like find it, and that's what's cool about music. Like you listen to music and you try to interpret it how the composer wants you to interpret it, and it's kind of cool like that.
Yeah. In fact, getting back to Star Wars, John Williams does exactly that. Everybody's got their own tune.
Yep.
That there's always that figure associated with a particular character, and each time you see them on film, depending on the situation, that tune will change just a little bit. That's exactly.
I was going to mention along the lines of like, because you're mentioning with Star Wars does that. I mean, it's not as well known, but like Avatar: The Last Airbender does the same thing. They have certain themes used for things, like, but it's not necessarily like for each character, but it's maybe for like a certain thing that's happening. Like, say, like the Fire Nation, they have a theme, but then like for like a certain character, they'll build on that theme by adding another layer of music on top of it, usually with like another instrument or something. So it's like you can tell that character's from this place, but it's their own individual line of music. It's
Yes.
really interesting.
Yeah.
And I do find it interesting the characterization you can get with music. Because whenever I play pieces or listen to pieces, I tend to start picturing a story in my mind.
Mhm.
And like I can kind of, sometimes it might not necessarily be what the composer wanted, but I'll come up with like a story as it goes along. And I'm able to like see the highs and lows of whether it's action or more relaxed and everything.
I think that's one of the beauties of music, is that even for pieces where a composer has given some sort of story, has given some sort of programmatic idea of what the music is about, you don't have to follow it if you don't want to. You know, that you can make your own story. I remember studying the violin concerto by Max Bruch in college, and my teacher thought I wasn't putting enough energy into it. So on the spot, he came up with this entire love story from the first 2 to 3 pages of the Bruch Violin Concerto. So yeah, that association for us of the sounds of music with our emotions is, I think, one of the most, and especially the idea that two people can hear the same piece and have different emotions about it. I think that's one of the things that keeps drawing us back to music, why we listen to the same work again and again and we hear different things.